Canto 1, chapter 18. We had completed till verse 22. We are starting verse 23. So today there will be no background story. We are just going to jump into the story. So let us begin. So we are doing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 18, verse 23. O Rishis, who are powerfully pure as the sun, I shall try to describe to you the transcendental pastimes of Vishnu, as far as my knowledge is concerned. As the birds fly in the sky, as far as the capacity allows, so do the learned devotees describe the Lord as far as their realization allows. So here, Sutta Goswami is sitting in front of his devotees and is going to give an understanding to them about the pastimes of the Lord. Basically, these are nothing but leelas. Leelas are stories. So he is going to expose them to the stories that he has heard. Now please understand, when we say the stories that I have heard, now it is an interpretation of that individual. Please remember this. So Sutta Goswami is going to talk about what he had heard from Sukadev. Sukadev was talking to King Parikshit, and that's the way how it is. Sukadev in turn had been given the stories by his father. So Vedvyas. Now Vedvyas is a person who has come to earth so that he can compile different scriptures, like the Mahabharata. And the scripture which we are doing today is called the Srimad Bhagavatam. These are stories of Vishnu, the avatar which takes multiple forms. So this is the genesis, and this is how the whole thing comes down to the level. So here he makes two qualifications. The first one is that it is a way in which I have understood. Which means what? Sutta Goswami is going to intersperse the story with his own interpretations. See, the sages and the saints who have written on the ancient scriptures, like say for example Tulsidas and various others are there. Now there are so many forms of Ramayana by itself. Everybody's interpretation is slightly different than the original story. You may wonder why it is so. If you come down to South India, there is the Kamba Ramayana, which is very famous here. Okay. So it does not mean that it is wrong. It is the way in which Ramayana has been interpreted. Similarly, in this manner, where Srimad Bhagavatam, the original version of it written by Ganesha with say, Vedvyas. Vedvyas is talking about it and it is being written. Now when it is being written, it has been then passed down further. I'm sure you remember Vedvyas is the person who has split up the Vedas also so that they can be easily digested. And he had given it to his disciples, and the disciples in turn distributed it further. So the idea was to distribute this knowledge, the story. Now if you see in our scriptures also, there are lots of stories that are mentioned. These stories are more or less coinciding with the Buddhist philosophy also. You will find that the stories are intertwined. Like the same story is used by the Buddhist lore and same story is used by here. So there is no way in which you can say the one story is wrong or the other one is right. There is no way you can say that. And by the way, this is the same thing which happens in all the religions of this world. So don't bother so much about it. At the last count, there were hundreds of versions of the Bible. Okay? Finally, the king, Constantine, he said, we will take 4 great writers who have written and we will compile them together in the Bible. So it is accepted like that. So these stories, though they were written 175, 150 years later, some were written 50 years, some were written later, they were all compiled together in the form of a Bible. So it is there in that religion. Even the Quran is exactly like that. The Quran was first compiled in Persia. In Persia. It was compiled more than 200 years later. There were 30 versions of Quran. So finally the accepted version is what we have today. So the Bible is the accepted version by the church. The Quran is accepted version by their religious heads. Similarly, in this scripture, this is an accepted version. So the Rishi, he is telling the Rishi Munis, this is going to be something which I am going to interpret it in my own way. So please don't be under this idea that, that this is what it is. No, it is a kind of an interpretation. The later saints, much later, that is in the last couple of centuries, they have also given their own interpretation not only of the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam and so on and so forth. Those who are living in South India know very well about the Narayaniyam. You have heard about it, right? Kamba Ramayan, you have heard about it. The Alvars also interpreted something like that. The interpretations are there. Here what are we doing? We are doing an exposition of the scripture which is in front of us. So please understand, spirituality is a very, very vast subject. What we do is we do the essence. We draw the essence of all these things and we package it and give. So in this world, a person who gives the stories, like now I'm going to be reading the stories, I'm going to give you my own version of it, no doubt about it. Means the story is there, so I will tell you what it means. So the person becomes a kathavachak. Somebody who is reading the katha. Katha is the story. So the person becomes a kathavachak. The interpreter or the one who is giving the exposition, there are lots of people who give exposition. They are the sages and the saints. I hope you got the point. So now we are going to understand how Sutta Goswami is going to talk to his disciples what he had heard from Sukadev. So now let us start with the first story. So we are doing Srimad Bhagavatam, canto 1, chapter 18, verse 25. 24, 25. All right. So, once upon a time, Maharaj Parikshit, while engaged in hunting in the forest with his bow and arrow, became extremely fatigued, hungry and thirsty while following the stags. While searching for a reservoir of water, he entered the hermitage of the well-known Samika Rishi and saw the sage sitting silently with closed eyes. Verse 26 says, the Muni's sense organs, breath, mind and intelligence were all restrained from material activities. And he was situated in a trance apart from the three. That is the three gunas. Three gunatmana, basically where we have done it in the Tripura Rahasyam, the three states being the sleeping state, the dream state and the waking state. Having achieved a transcendental position qualitatively equal with the Supreme Absolute. Verse 27, the sage in meditation was covered by the skin of a stag, and long compressed hair was scattered all over him. The king, whose palate was dry from thirst, asked him for water. Now, the story begins with the grandson of Arjuna. He has gone to the jungle. Now, in ancient times, the kings used to go for hunting. Hunting was a very, very common thing. Remember, he is a Kshatriya. A Kshatriya king goes out with his entire coterie searching for animals to hunt. Mostly it was for the purpose of trophies and all. So imagine killing a tiger or something like that, a very ferocious animal. Definitely it will say that he is very powerful and he is having the strength to kill. If he was able to run after a stag, a deer, then you can say that he is more, faster than the deer. The idea is that, like, everybody wants some accolades. In this world, everybody is searching for this kind of, people praises. The kings and the queens also were doing the same thing in the past. They were called by different names. Somebody would be called Chhatrapati, somebody would be called Maharaj, somebody would be called Adhiraj. It depends. So depending on all that, so you will find that he has gone to the jungle, King Parikshit. He was running after stag, and finally he must have been on a horse or something like that. And then he comes to a place where he becomes very thirsty for water and hungry. Because after running for quite some time, naturally the person becomes hungry and thirsty. Now in the jungle, you are searching for a water body where you can have water. But he is unable to find, so he comes to a small clearing in the forest, which is the abode of the Rishi Muni. Okay, Samika Rishi is the name of the person. Now, he is sitting in meditation over there, deeply lost in the thoughts, deeply lost in himself rather, and his eyes are closed. It is not possible for anybody to wake him up because he is in the fourth state. See, I told you there are three states, which one is called the waking state, which you are in just now. Some of you are in the sleep state also, no doubt about it. And some of you are dreaming about your office and maybe something to eat or something like that. So we all exist in all these three states. So the three states are there. But there is a fourth state which they achieve. And this is done through a meditation and all that. And that state is called the state of Turiya. It's a state beyond the three states, where there is no indication of the person being in the body. There is no way of knowing that. They are lost in the self. Their body consciousness has completely obliterated. There is no body consciousness anywhere. They are lost in their own meditative state. So here you find Samika Rishi is sitting over there in a very, very deep meditative state. At that point in time, King Parikshit enters the place, does his namaskar and all that, and then he says to this sage, "Can I have some water?" Now, when you say these words, naturally you are supposed to give water to the person who has come over there. But remember, Samika Rishi is in a very, very deep meditative state. it is not possible for him to get out of that state because he is not in the body. He is not in the body. So consciousness, body consciousness is non-existent. So because of that, let us see what happens. So verse 28 says, the king, not received by any formal welcome, by means of being offered a seat, place, water and sweet addresses, considered himself neglected, and so thinking he became angry. Now, when somebody seems to be ignoring him, so you will find that Samika Rishi is lost in a deep meditative state. And nobody is able to understand. It is very difficult for people to understand what a meditative state is. See, unless and until you yourself are in the meditative state, how are you going to understand somebody else is in that state? It's a very funny incident which I still remember. I was sitting and doing some meditation practice because it was being taught by one guru. So when I was sitting over there, I don't know how to meditate the way they do. Okay, all these people will say, okay, now close your eyes and take a deep breath and all that. They were all doing all that, and I was just sitting over there watching all these guys. My eyes were open, no doubt about it. So I was watching them. This kind of a meditation which people did for more than 30 minutes, okay? And after that they got up. And everybody did all kinds of noises. Ah, oof, it was so nice, I mean, everybody was talking as if they were in meditation. And the funniest part is, if you are in meditation, you are not supposed to know you are in meditation. So everybody was faking it. And they all got up saying that, oh, now I am so refreshed, I am refreshed after meditation. I was refreshed with looking at all these idiots doing that meditation. Because I could only laugh at these people. And there is nothing called meditation over there. They are forced to close their eyes. They are forced to do this kind of a meditation. And there the problem lies. Meditation is a very difficult thing to do. For those who have absolutely no idea what is meditation. But for the enlightened ones, they are constantly in meditation. Sometimes they have consciousness, sometimes they don't have consciousness also. So when Parikshit is looking at this Rishi Muni over here, he is in no way to understand what that Rishi Muni is doing. Isn't it the same thing where we saw that earlier, Tripura Rahasyam, where the Rishi Muni is sitting over there and then his son comes, you see, that whole story, and they enter the mountain and all that. So yeah, it's a similar condition right now. So the person is not able to understand. So Parikshit doesn't even have an idea what is happening over there. And because that person is not responding, he gets very upset. Remember, he is a king, dressed in finery, has come with a horse, and with all this grandeur and glory that he has, he expects the other person to get up, bow down to him, touch his feet, give him a place to sit, give him water, give him some food, sweets to eat and all that kind of a thing. And here this person is in meditation, he is not even looking at him. And when that is the case, the anger rises in Parikshit. He gets very upset and angry. And you also happen to be in this state quite often, isn't it? When you are very thirsty or very hungry, Have you seen your temperature rises quite a lot? You get very upset with it. See, you remain hungry for some time. You can lose it, by the way. Human beings are very prone to this. When hungry, get upset. This is what we do. So naturally, here is this king who is very hungry and thirsty and tired. Tired on top of it because he has been running after that stag. You remember that? So he is very upset. So what happens? Verse 30, while leaving, the king, being so insulted, picked up a lifeless snake with his bow and placed angrily on the shoulder of the sage. And then he returned to his palace. So, so here what happens is King Parikshit, he is so upset with what has happened that sage is not even looking at him. Nobody is responding to him. So nearby he sees one snake lying dead over there somewhere. So he picks it up with the arrow and he puts it around the neck of this sage. So Samika is sitting over there and this snake is around his neck. And then King Parikshit goes back to his palace. Upon returning, he began to contemplate and argue with himself whether the sage has actually been in meditation with senses concentrated and eyes closed, or whether he had just been feigning trance just to avoid receiving a lower Kshatriya. Now this is also a very strange and a funny thing. Please understand, when somebody wants to avoid, they can feign a lot of things, I am sure you have done it quite often. When you don't want to be woken up and this person wants to come and wake you up, you will go deeper into the sleep, okay, and you will feign as if you are fast asleep. Maybe you will put one chadar on top of your head. I am fast asleep. We do that. And many a times, you yourself have done it. When the boss is talking, you may be listening, but you will say, I didn't listen to it. So that way, King Parikshit believes that here, the sage must have deliberately not wanted to respond to him. And he was feigning over there. He was, just pretending as if he has not heard him. Why? Because he is a Brahmana. The sage is a Brahmana. And Parikshit is coming from the lower caste according to him. So, he is a Kshatriya. Now, a Kshatriya and a Brahmana, maybe not, they don't respond to each other. The idea was that. Now, King Parikshit is, contemplating and thinking, oh, that must be the reason. You know how your mind works, no? When there is actually no proof of it also, your mind is always in the overdrive. We love to overdrive, fast. There was a very funny incident which happened a couple of days ago. There was a question asked, why did this Arjuna select Sri Krishna and Duryodhan selected the Krishna's army? And there was a discussion on this subject. So everybody was giving some great ideas about it. And then the person who had asked this question, he must be a knowledgeable person. He must be that guy who loves to by heart literally everything. You always find these kind of, idiots in this world. They seem to know too much. So he wrote over there, I am going to quote these verses where, Arjuna does it like this and blah, blah, blah. So he gave a lengthy proof of it. So I wrote very simply from my point of view. See, Duryodhan is not in the world of spiritual. He looks at Krishna, whom he doesn't even know as if he is some god or something like that. He's an ordinary fellow, some few feet in inches of what. Who is going to consider him as God? Nobody will, right? So he looks at Krishna, and then Krishna has put this thing in front of them. Either you take me, I'm not going to lift any bow and arrow or any weapons, and here you have my entire army. So which one would you want to have? Naturally, you will also select the army, isn't it? Any commonsensical person will say, oh yeah, Krishna doesn't even want to fight for me. He just wants to be with me like that only. But his army, they are willing to fight. And so many Ashkawanis and this and that, such a big army, I would rather have it. So he deliberately did it by logical thinking. And then I added a line. In the material world, everybody does logical thinking. But if in the spiritual world, if you look at it, neither Duryodhan nor Arjun was taking any sides. There was one great person up there who is pulling the strings of everybody. And he is the one who made it happen for both these people. Why? Because stories are like that, sir. They are called Leelas. And God performs Leelas. Why it happens, nobody knows. So my answer was very clear cut. I said spiritually, you can give whatever reasons you want in the material world. Spiritually, at the end of the day, what God wants to happen is all going to happen. It is His will. We are nobody. We are nobody. Got the point? So that is the answer. Now here in this case also, King Parikshit can keep on thinking about why this happened, why that happened. He should have thought about it and he should have woken up and maybe he was not and he did this. We all love to do this kind of a speculation, isn't it? Our mind is very great one for doing this speculation. So he is also speculating. And then he brings a caste system and all that. What Kshatriyas and Brahmanas and all. What is that? If you are an outside observer, now you are listening as an observer, you can make out nobody has said anything about Kshatriya, nobody has said anything about that person must be in a samadhi. Why not accept it? You see, human beings don't accept things at face value. We always want to find, an undercurrent somewhere, a conspiracy. We love to get the conspiracy theories in this world. Oh, the Anunnakis are there. There is a face on the Mars planet. The face must be left behind by the ancient alien civilization which existed over there. Why? Yeah, we found some metal pieces also over there. By the way, let me tell you, Mars is not a planet. Acha, really? Yeah, speculation. Mars is a moon of the planet which exploded, and that exploded planet became the belt around this, the belt that is there of all those small, what do you call that, things floating in the air? Oh, yeah. No, not the Orion belt. Next to our earth, there is that big, all small rocks are roaming all over the place. That. Really? That is it? Okay. I can keep on thinking of it. On the earth, there were giants. They came and they built the pyramids. I can keep on dwelling. Sir, I have got only few years to live. Why do I need all these stories? Can I just think about what I am having just now? No. But man loves to speculate on all kinds of things. Things which might have happened, might not have happened. He's in overdrive, whereas his thinking is going. So, our great friend Parikshit is also doing the same thing. So, we will go to the next verse, verse 32. The sage had a son who was very powerful, being a Brahmana's son. While he was playing with the inexperienced boys, he heard of his father's distress, which was occasioned by the king. Then and there the boy spoke as follows. Verse 33, the Brahmana's son, Shringi, said, his name is Shringi, oh, just look at the sins of the ruler who, like crows and watchdogs at the door, perpetrate sins against their masters, contrary to the principles governing servants. Verse 34, the descendants of the kingly order are definitely designated as watchdogs. They must keep themselves at the door. On what grounds can dogs enter the house and claim to dine with the masters of the same plate? So, here it so happens that the son of the sage, okay, he is playing with his friends somewhere. He's a young boy who is playing with a friend somewhere. He gets this SOS signal from his father. Okay, say, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. You know, nowadays, Mayday has become very common, no? All aircrafts are flying somewhere or the other, and Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Though it's a June. Okay, stupid joke. Alright, so here it so happens that this son comes to know. Shringi is his name. So Shringi comes to know that his father is in distress. Some idiot somewhere has put one snake around my father's neck. What does he think of himself? He's the king of this land. I don't care about it. What do these kings think of themselves? We are the Brahmanas. We are the greatest race of all times. Okay. I am the dialogue writer, so don't bother. I am writing my dialogues over here. Okay. So I got told you in the beginning, I am going to be doing all these things. So he is thinking like this and he is saying, who is this great fellow? What does he think of himself? Just because he is some king, we keep the kings as our bodyguards outside, they will become these dwarpals. You know what a dwarpal is, no? Somebody who stands with the stick outside, maybe with a gun, or maybe you have seen in the in England, outside Buckingham Palace, you will find that there's guards are there, no? You've seen that, isn't it? They are there on the horseback and they are there with their swords and all those shiny outfit. So all these kings, what are they? They are nothing but those kind of guards outside our gates. What are they thinking of themselves? Huh? He's thinking he can come inside and do whatever he feels like. That is not a done thing. So Shringi is thinking about his father, whom he considers as a great person. Shringi himself, see, limited knowledge, no doubt about it. He's a young man. Now he's been learning the spiritual stuff from his father. When you learn, you get the magic potential also, by the way. Magic is a part of the spiritual life, okay? So, these are called siddhis. Siddhis are very common. Okay, you can also get a siddhi if you want. Very simply, keep on just reciting the Khan mantra, keep on doing it for years. One fine day, you will find that whatever you say from your mouth comes true. You say, oh, today I will get one letter which will say I got $1 million, and suddenly you will get one letter which says you got $1 million. Can happen, Till today I have never got any letter like that saying you got $1 million. Yeah, I have got letters, a pink color letter 3 times from the US Embassy. Your visa has been rejected. I wish I had to use my magical powers. Maybe I don't have. So think like that. So here he has the magical powers also. Who? Shringi. He is an educated person. He is a Brahmana's son. And Brahmana's son, they have got all those, like you have in the past, a wizard, there is a wizard. You have heard of wizard stories, The wizard's son. The wizard will teach his son, okay, say this. I don't know about Harry Potter. Maybe Harry Potter also has one cane and he says, hey, some magical mantra he will say, and that fellow will become a dog and cat and God knows what all things. So here this fellow also has got those magical abilities. If you come in spiritual, someday you will also get, don't worry. Don't use it, There's a big fine attached to it. Here also there is a fine attached to it. You will come to know. So, he says these kings, what do they think of themselves? They come over here and they try to show off, is it? This is not the way. So, he gets very upset with the king, Parikshit. Verse 35 says, after the departure of Lord Krishna, the supreme ruler of everyone, these upstarts have flourished. Our protector being gone, therefore I myself shall take up the matter and punish them. Just witness my power. The son of the Rishi, his eyes red hot with anger, touched by the water of river Kaushiki, while speaking to his playmates, and discharged the following thunderbolt of words. The Brahmana's son cursed by the king thus, on the 7th day from today, a snake bird will bite the most wretched one of that dynasty, King Parikshit, because of him having broken the laws of etiquette by insulting my father. I can only think of one person just now. If you know the person very well. So yeah, angry bird. So here we have an angry bird getting very upset with things. And he says, now Krishna is not there. If Krishna was there, he would have straightened these idiots out. What do they think of themselves? But because Krishna is not there, I also have power. So I am also going to use these powers. I am Shringi, My father has taught me all these dangerous powers. I want to curse this idiot. Who does he think he is? They are all upstarts. Please understand. The youngsters, they really don't have much knowledge or experience in life. So they immediately get very upset, very angry, and they are very hot-headed. Most of the youngsters, you will find they are hot-headed. And they want to kill, they want to murder, they want to do all kinds of things. So, and they are used to all the games, isn't it? So in the games, I don't know how many people they kill with all these guns that they have and all that. Yeah, the games are always like that. And here we have this young person. Maybe he was playing a game with his fellow friends, all those bacha company. And he was saying, I'll kill you, like that, maybe. You understand? So he believes that he has got the power. And he says, okay, I understand Krishna he's not there just now. But I also have the power. I am going to use it against this king. Who does he think he is? First and foremost, you come to my ashram, my father's place, and you say whatever you feel like. Is that a done thing? At least have some respect for the old man. So, he has broken the laws of etiquette and insulted my father. Okay. So, 37:38. Thereafter, when the boy returned to the hermitage, he saw the snake on the father's shoulder, and out of his grief he cried very loudly. See, what happens is, the words that escape our mouth when a person is angry or upset, we do not weigh our words when we speak. The words that escape from our mouth have potencies. They have potencies. They are potent, no doubt about it. It's like a curse, and the curses should not be given. You have to avoid the curse. See, if you are an enlightened person, you can definitely not get into it. But when you are on the path, your words do have a meaning. A very simple story is of Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu is Parikshit's, right? You don't know that. I don't have to tell you. Abhimanyu had half-baked knowledge. He was able to kill many people inside the Chakravyuh. But he did not have that one knowledge of getting out of it. See, this is one thing which people don't understand. They say words, but they don't know how to withdraw them. I imagine there was that big, fight going on between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Donald Trump said something, Elon Musk wrote for 2-3 days, he kept on writing on his, Twitter, X. So many things he wrote. And then he says, I am sorry. Sir, that sorry has no value because you are already gone and spoiled everything. Now, henceforth, come whatever may, Donald Trump is not going to take him closer. He will keep him somewhere in the outside circle only. The moment I also say, you are an idiot, as a human being, you are going to get upset. You're going to get angry. How can he talk to me like this? But you will find that the sages and the saints also talk the same language. Krishna himself says there are idiots in this world. But Krishna knows how to control that idiocy, by the way. You know how idiots are there in this world. The sages of the highest order can convert an idiot into a very enlightened person also. Totakacharya. You know that, no? Totakacharya was a great person. How did he become from a dunce to a great person? The gurus, the great masters, they have the ability to alter the states of being. But a young upstart who has absolutely very little knowledge, like Abhimanyu, who got lost, got killed in the battlefield. This young boy has no idea how to take back his words. And he has said some words which are very, very wrong. He says a black bird, a snake bird, will come and peck this king. And in 7 days he will die. See, we should never speak this kind of a language if we don't know how to withdraw our words. So don't make the mistake, because you will not be able to withdraw the words. So here he has done that, and he has said those words, and then he returns to the hermitage where he looks at his father. And he sees this dead snake round the neck of the father. Oh Brahmana, next verse 39. The rishis who are born in the family of Angira Muni, hearing his sons crying, gradually opened his eyes and saw the dead snake around his neck. Verse 40, he threw the dead snake aside and asked his son why he was crying, whether anyone had done him harm. On hearing this, the son explained to him what had happened. Verse 41, the father heard from the son that the king had been cursed, although he should never have been condemned, for he was best among all human beings. The rishi did not congratulate his son, but on the contrary, began to repent, saying, alas, what a sinful act was performed by my son. He has avoided heavy punishment for an insignificant offense. So when the young son goes back to his father, he sees the snake around his neck, calls out to his father, he cries out. The father, listening to that, hearing him, gets out of his meditative state and looks at his son and asks him what happened. The son in turn tells him, there was this king, he had come over here and this happened. The whole story he gives him. And then the Rishi Muni comes to know that a great king like King Parikshit has been cursed by his son. He looks at his son and says, you should not have done this. It's a minor act. It's not a big misdemeanor. Please understand, some people get angry and upset and they behave this way. Doesn't mean anything. You have to forgive them. You have to forget about those things. It is all right. The great kings and the queens and whoever they are, suppose they are on the path of spiritual. Remember, King Parikshit was a spiritual person. So, you have to become more understanding. He was already blessed by Krishna. Remember that? He was blessed by Krishna. And this entire thing was supposed to be coming from him only, this entire story. So the Rishi Muni is telling his son, you should not have done this kind of a thing. it is a very, very insignificant act. See, according to you, it's a very difficult thing. A person was showing his ego and anger and all those kind of things, but it is not right. Oh my boy, verse 42, your intelligence is immature and therefore you have no knowledge of the king, who is best among human beings, is as good as Sri Krishna himself. He is never to be placed on an equal footing with common men. The citizens of the state live in prosperity, being protected by their unsurpassable prowess. Verse 43 says, my dear boy, the Lord who carries the wheel of the chariot is represented by the monarchical regime. And when this regime is abolished, the whole world becomes filled with thieves. Those who then at once vanquish the unprotected subjects like scattered lambs. Now here the father is looking at his son and telling him, see, you are very immature. Till your knowledge is not perfect, you are supposed to keep your mouth shut. You don't have to say anything. Just keep quiet. I understand you are upset, you are angry, things are not working in the way you want them to work. You think that that person has done something wrong to me. Don't bother about it. Don't look at what he has done wrong to me. Look at that person's greatness. That person is capable. He is taking care of the whole kingdom. He is a very kind person, blessed by the Lord himself. The Lord himself has blessed that king. Remember this. And Sri Krishna has always considered him as his, protege. Because he is the one who has given birth to him, isn't it? Birth doesn't mean physical birth. Birth means spiritual birth. He has given spiritual birth to this person. Blessed him. He was saved in the womb itself. He is a great king. You should not have done any of this. He represents the Lord himself. You may not look at it like that. You are looking at his human form and thinking that he has done something wrong. He says, you should not be doing this. Please do not consider him like a normal human being. Normal human beings are absolutely crass. This person is qualified because he is blessed by Krishna. Because he is in that category. Yes, he might have done something wrong because people don't understand. When they are driven by their nature, they behave in a certain manner. But it should not matter to anybody. The citizens of the state live in prosperity, being protected by the unsurpassable prowess. His prowess is very good. He has got great skills. He is a great ruler. He has got great skills. He is running the kingdom very peacefully, properly. He gets everything done properly. And he represents this monarchical regime. If you were to say no, or if you were to curse him, if he were to die, you know what is going to happen? The whole system is going to crumble and break down. Please understand this. The future is dependent on something like this. There is somebody who is left behind from the age of Krishna. And if you curse this person and if you say bad words and if you have done something, it is going to jeopardize the future. Don't say this kind of words. Do not jeopardize the future, because now the world is going to get filled with thieves because of what you have done. The world is going to take advantage of it. They are going to be filled with thieves. And then there will be nobody to protect those people. The common folks around over there, nobody will be there to look after them. You understand? When you remove the person who is blessed by the Lord, and you are taking this objection and removing the person, then what happens? You don't know the implications of it. So what you have done is wrong. Tomorrow there will be a lot of wrong happening in that place just because you have cursed this person. So this curse is not good enough. Whatever you have done, I think we should stop over here because then that's explanations are quite big. So I'll just end it over here saying that this monarchical regime, when it is abolished, the whole world will be filled with thieves who at once vanquish the unprotected subjects like scattered lambs. It's not that during the time of Parikshit there was wrong things going on. Wrong things happen. See, this world is like this. It's a Kali Yuga. Wrong things are going to happen. But there is a person who can rectify the wrong. But tomorrow if you remove that person, Parikshit himself is removed, the next person or the next person or the next person who is going to come will not be the right person to right it. Right the wrong. This person will be incapable. So do not take this kind of a decision which you have taken. And he reprimands his son. So we have come to the end of verse 43. We will stop here for today.